You guys rolling?
Yep, we're good.
Cool. What fish do you like? I'm here at Sidetracks. It's a great record store here in my hometown of Charlottesville, Virginia. When you are getting ready to interview a legend, a musical encyclopedia like DJ Premier, you kind of have to do your homework.
I'm gonna go with charcoal right here.
Okay, charcoal, and you named them.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they're kind of heavy, but I feel pretty cool. Who doesn't like vinyls, right? Long start. That wasn't nice.
About to do this podcast with Chris Long.
What's up? The thing people don't understand about records,
We get it, vinyl boy.
it's a pure sound.
Nice dress.
It's called high fashion, asshole. One thing about you that I think is always interesting is your memory, and like it serves you well because you've had 30 years of experience.
Yeah. You know, after 30 years, I mean, I'm still addicted to putting out albums because I come from the album era where now with the digital world, people, you can stream one single and, you know, get millions and millions of of streams where we, you know, the album concept has started to diminish where, you know, the era I come from, it was always about, you know, buying a whole album. Hey, what's up, Chris? I know I couldn't talk about it when I did the Fishbowl with you, but the secret project that I was doing is the new exclusively produced and unexpected Gang Starr album. It contains all vocals that have never been out there in the world, and you know, they were vocals I never heard before, which is the reason why I put this project together with his family's blessing. And next thing you know, I started working on one, working on two, working on three, and then I said, you know what, I'm putting a Gang Starr album together, and that's what I did. Comes out November 1st, and it's called One of the Best Yet. That's one of our slogans of our career, and like Guru always says, you know, see you at the races, and that's what we're about to do. So November 1st is going down, and that's what the project that I was talking about. We already have 2 singles out, one with J. Cole called Family and Loyalty, the video and the song, and we just dropped a new one called Bad Name. Video is out as well, and yeah, we about to rock, man. So that was the secret album, and now the truth is out, and it's our moment of truth, huh? This is the moment of truth logo from 1998. All right, then. Now you know.
You came up in an era where you put the record on and you had to listen to it all the way through.
Yeah.
And how has music changed in the way people digest it from that standpoint?
I just follow the same blueprint of what we were raised on. Like, I was 19 going on 20 when the interest was taken to sign me to a record deal. So, you know, a lot of the kids now in this generation are in their 18, 19, 20s as well, which I got to sometimes go, man, we were actually their age, even though the sound is different now. So a lot of the music that we borrow from, especially the sampling era, it borrows some music that we had in our house. You know, my mom had Aretha Franklin, Al Green, the Crusaders, you know, Minnie Riperton, Curtis Mayfield. But then my sister, who's older, she's 4 years older than I have a sister who's 2 years older. My sister was into the Bee Gees and the Beatles and, you know, Carly Simon and Van Halen and, you know, so then I got a taste of that. Then I get into my era of being into Parliament, you know, Funkadelic, James Brown. Then I was into the Rolling Stones, you know, because all my friends at school. And then plus once you get into the sports era, your other teammates are into, you know, Styx and, you know, and you know, Ted Nugent and all that stuff, Rush, AC/DC. And then that starts to mesh with what you're into. Next thing you get into the hip-hop era, they're taking, you know, like even with Walk This Way with Run DMC, I remember when they met Aerosmith, they were like, man, we didn't even know y'all were Aerosmith. We would like put the Toys in the Attic record on. You know, they just know that. And get the Toys in the Attic record, 2 copies, and keep cutting that beat up so we could rap and do our rhymes. Yeah. So that's how much of a gap that got bridged through music, pulling all these different sounds together, and then becoming a culture. You know, where I think hip hop is one of the only culture genres in music. Like country's a culture to me too because I grew up in Texas and been around a lot of cowboys. I used to go to rodeos as a young kid.
Really?
You know, yeah, the Houston Livestock Show and rodeo, and this is when the Jackson 5 would be coming into town on a regular. It wasn't like a rare thing like, oh man, Michael Jackson tickets are on sale. It's like, oh, the Jackson 5 are coming again, and you'd go to the rodeo and catch them at the Astrodome, you know, but when Astro World was around before the stadium they have now. So, you know, like that was my childhood upbringing. So all of that is a major part of, and then again, what your parents have in the household, you're usually going to gravitate to as well.
I absolutely love this conversation. The first album my parents allowed me to buy was Soundgarden, Super Unknown. Right when it came out, my mom took me to the CD store, snagged it. Still love Chris Cornell to this day, God rest his soul. But in the 80s, when I was a little kid, we used to listen to Stevie Wonder, Anita Baker, who Preemo mentioned, Frankie Beverly and Maze. And then in the early 90s, when my dad hit it big with that second and third contract, you got that shiny Suburban, that red Suburban with a tape deck. And we used to listen to everything from Seal to Sade to Counting Crows to Hootie and the Blowfish. But my favorite album, my dad played it on the boat in the summer in Montana, very nostalgic for me. It's, of course, Bruce Springsteen's country offshoot called Tunnel of Love. And Tougher Than the Rest, song on that album, still does something for me. It reminds me of my dad. Special album. And it's my responsibility to pass on musical taste to my kids. Waylon, of course, my oldest son, is named after Waylon Jennings. He loves War on Drugs. He loves My Morning Jacket. And he can name Shuggie Otis songs. He's off to a good start. I wonder if your diversity of musical taste was a huge tool for you that maybe some kids don't have now.
Yeah, I don't think you can outgrow a culture anyway. Like you Jamaicans don't stop smoking weed or say, oh well, you know, I'm old now. I'm not gonna grow my dreads. You know, like hip hop to me is, you know, the way we dress, you know, the way we break our hats down. You know, even the sneakers we buy. I'm still. You know, I wear older man's clothes, and I don't have it hanging off my butt anymore. But I still am just just embedded into the whole culture of it. So it's beyond just being a fan of listening to the music. You know, so and it carries with me to where I'm glad I had so much other styles of music before I got into hip hop because it still feels good when I hear, you know, Running with the Devil with David Lee Roth, and I'm sitting there doing the guitar when Eddie Van Halen's part comes on, and then I'm imitating Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson and Neil Peart on the drums with Rush. You know, like that stuff still blows me away. You know, but then so does Prince, so does Michael Jackson, so does the Eagles. You know,
if it's good music, it's good music.
Yeah, man.
Just being from Houston and then having to make it in New York, just the diversity in sound and culture. Has that helped you? Like, you know, in the New York scene, being able to adapt because you made that big adaptation in high school, moving to New York and then coming back. Yeah,
my thing is I approach everything from a fan perspective. It's the same approach for me with music every time I go into the studio to create. I'm always like, do it like if you are going to be excited to buy that record when you hear it. I always say, I like to make stuff I would buy.
Right.
So that's my approach every time, but still in a competitive mode.
What's harder now? Because like I said, I mean, you're 53 years old, but you're more active than these young guys.
Yeah.
You stay busy, and you've had projects now that don't quite mirror Gang Starr, but you've done Prime, and I know it's slightly different. What's harder? Managing a project like that or a Gang Starr project over years? I mean, like, what are the differences in like the beginning of your career, these collaborative efforts, and then the end, not the end, but the middle of your career? Because I think you work to your.
I'll use Christina Aguilera as a good example because when we got together to work, she. I remember a lot of my fans were like, "Oh, you're working with her. You're gonna go mainstream. You're gonna soften up and water down your sound." It's like, no. She likes what I do, and she wants my sound, and she wants to make some hits, and it's like, okay, I'm going in with that mentality the same way I would go in with a Biggie record that I did, or a Jay-Z record, or a Nas record, or even a KRS-One record. So when I went in with her, the same exact mentality is given to her, but just I'm Guru, rest in peace, used to always call me a beat tailor because I tailor it to the artist. So like, sitting with her and knowing what's on her mind, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make everything sound like your vision. I remember when after the first album, Back to Basics, the next album that she was working on, she had a pink pool table, and she was like, I want to discuss my next album. And I was like, okay. She brings a cardboard out, and they had like people with pins in their eyes and with blood coming out, and it might be a little baby's face with an arrow and just all kind of weird stuff. All like cut out of magazines, all pasted, almost like a ransom note type of thing.
Yeah, like True Detective.
Yeah,
like maybe she's the bad guy.
Yeah, and she goes, "That's my album," and I was like, "Got it." I wasn't like, huh? Well, that's weird. Got it. So now I'm already thinking weird, but still weird pumps, still where you could dance to it, still have the emotion that I know she could bring out because she's such an incredible singer.
Oh, her voice. I mean, there's nothing mainstream about her voice.
She's sick with it. And so already that I didn't have to go, well, damn, man, I don't know what she means. I totally got it just from that poster.
Do you prefer working with artists that when you walk in, they have a plan, or do you like somebody who's pretty malleable? And then, like, also, through your career early on, you're up and coming, so you're producing artists.
Right.
Is that like a peer-to-peer relationship, and is it more of like a coach-to-player relationship now? There's got to be artists who are real type A. There's got to be ones that just say, fuck it, and they just, like, Jay-Z's the most famous one that everybody says, like, one take, he just walks in.
Yeah, it's either or for me. For me, if they don't have an idea, I'm already there, like, well, this is what I envision you sounding over my stuff.
Right.
If they haven't, Jay would always call me and say, hey, I got this song I want to do, and he would literally do the rhyme over the phone, a cappella, and say, it's going to be this, it's going to be called this. I wanted to do, like when we did $1,000,001 Questions and Rhyme No More as two songs merged together on his In My Lifetime Volume 1. He told me how he wanted to do it. He said, and then before it goes into Rhyme No More, I wanted to break down. He said those things you do with the breakdown. So I was like, all right, whenever he finishes, okay, and he even calls me Memory Man one time because he said, you always remember everything.
Yeah.
And then I said, okay, cool. And then I remember when he came to D&D Studios, which was very well known for underground hip hop, and a lot of good music came out of there.
Yo, this is for my man Chris Long in the Fishbowl. So, D&D Studios, the legendary D&D Studios in New York City, that was manned by the legendary DJ Premier. The thing about D&D was, D&D was probably the first studio that I actually knew about, coming up in the game, as far as even just a fan and a listener. But you knew the kind of product that was coming out of D&D because DJ Premier worked with Jay, he worked with Big, and he worked with Nas, all in the same studio, which was crazy. And also the dirtiness of the sound, because Evil D and Black Moon also used D&D. So D&D was not only a place, but it also was a sound. So shouts to D&D, shouts to DJ Premier, shouts to Black Moon, shouts to Gang Starr, and shouts to Duck Down, and shouts to my man Chris Long. Peace.
Hey yo, this is a shout out to the D&D Studios. I'm telling you, Premier was funky. Showbiz and AG. They should have named the studio Dope and Dynamite. I'm telling you, legendary records came out of there. You had, rest in peace, Big L. You had all of them people with their crazy stuff out of there. I'm telling you. Yo, D&D Studios, those dudes, incredible.
I remember he came with Too Short that day because they were working on a song called A Week Ago. So they're in one room. I'm working on the first half. I call him in there and say, hey, listen to the first part. He goes, I like it. Let me record it. He records it. All right, I'm going back in there with Too Short to finish working on this song. I started working on Rhyme No More. Said, yo, I'm done. He comes in, listens to it. That's it. Does that. He goes, okay. And then he used to go, okay, do the Premiere thing. Like, he doesn't sit there going, I got to watch and stand over you. He knows I got the rest. His part is done. He's back in the other room. And when he's ready to go, he's like, see you later. Just send me a finished product when you're done.
Thanks for watching part 1 of the DJ Premier interview on the Fishbowl. Part 2 is going to be a lot more about some of the iconic hip-hop figures that Preemo has worked with, some older guys like KRS-One, some younger guys in the game like J. Cole, who he's worked with extensively. So pretty interesting little segment coming up. Please subscribe to our channel and continue watching.